Hello everybody, this is Fish. If you watched my last video, I built my first budget gaming PC with an Intel CPU. I listed that PC on Facebook Marketplace for around $580, and within a couple days, I sold that PC for $600. So I was really happy to see we made such a good profit off of that PC, and I'll put that here in the video now. In today's video, I'm going to be building another budget gaming PC, and this one's going to be using a Ryzen 5 CPU, as well as an RTX 20 series graphics card. I've noticed recently that with the new GPUs coming out, that the RTX 20 series graphics cards are going down in price, and I've noticed for the best price to performance, it's good to buy an RTX 2070 or 2070 Super on the used market. You can usually find these graphics cards for around roughly the same price, and I believe if you can pick one up for around $160 or less, then it's a really good deal for a budget gaming PC. Now let's talk about the parts that I used for this computer. Starting off with the CPU, we have the Ryzen 5 3600X that I purchased off of Aliexpress for $69.50. To cool the CPU, we have the ID Cooling SE214 ARGB in white that I purchased for $16 off of Amazon. For the motherboard for this build, I went with this cheap Aliexpress motherboard that I paid around $58 for. This motherboard is from the brand called Soyo. It's a pretty bare bones B550 motherboard, but it does have plenty of headers, and it also supports PCIe 4.0. Later in the video, I'll go more in depth about how this motherboard worked out for this build. For the memory in this build, we have a 32GB kit of DDR4 memory, clocked at 3200 MHz with a cast latency of 16. I bought this RAM for around $42 off of AliExpress. For storage, I went with this Patriot P310 Gen 3 SSD NVMe drive. I only saved about $2 by getting the 960GB drive, so you're better off spending an extra $2 and getting a 1TB SSD, but this will still be plenty of storage for a budget build as well as fast speeds. Now for the graphics card, as I said before, I went with an RTX 2070. I went with this Gigabyte model that I bought used off of eBay for around $160. I think this is a really good three-fan model. It looks really good, and I ended up actually taking it apart, cleaning it, and spray painting the shroud and backplate white. And I think it came out looking pretty good besides a few blemishes. But in the past, I've used a lot of these Gigabyte WindForce cards, and they're really easy to take apart, clean, and spray paint. I highly recommend this card, and we'll see if this RTX 2070 paired with this CPU will give us some good performance. For the case for this build, I bought a DIY PC Micro ATX case. I got this case off of Newegg for $61. And to power this build, we have my go-to budget power supply, the Thermaltake Smart 600 watt 80 plus white that I got off of Amazon for $41.99. Now let's get this computer built, and then we'll jump into those benchmarks and see how well this computer performs. So I think this build came out looking pretty good, but now let's talk about that Soyo motherboard that I used for this PC build. Overall, this is a really good budget B550 motherboard, but the only issue that I had with this motherboard is it has 3 ARGB headers on the motherboard, and no matter what RGB software I downloaded, I could not get the RGB software to recognize these 3 ARGB headers. So there's actually no way to control the ARGB on this motherboard. Now, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I literally installed every single RGB software I could find, and I really thought Signal RGB would be able to detect the headers on the motherboard. But this software didn't work either. And after doing some more research, I ended up downloading an RGB software from Maxsun, since it's the sister company of Soyo. And even their RGB software wouldn't recognize the ARGB headers on this motherboard. So no matter what I tried, I could not get the ARGB to be recognized. So I couldn't sync up the colors for the ARGB devices that I connected to this motherboard. So eventually I ended up having to use an ARGB controller that I bought off of Aliexpress. So if you intend to use the ARGB on this motherboard, it's actually not going to really work out. It will give your fans color, but whatever that default color is what it's going to be for the rest of the time. There's no way to change it. But if you guys have used this motherboard before and you know of some way to control the ARGB on it, then please tell me in the comments below. But otherwise, I think it's a really good motherboard for the price. You're spending around $60 for a B550 motherboard that supports AMD Ryzen 5000 processors, and you get a PCIe 4.0 by 16 lane. So I can't complain too much for a budget build. You just get what you pay for. Now let's jump into those benchmarks and see how well this computer performed. In Call of Duty Warzone at 1080p native using the Ultra preset, we were averaging about 60 FPS, but we were getting dips of 40 to 50 FPS at times. For a fast-paced shooter like this, I don't think you'd want to have FPS like this. I feel like you'd want to have a little bit higher FPS. So I ended up changing the settings to the Ultra preset, but with DLSS turned on with the balanced preset. And we started to average about 100 FPS. The game still looked really good, and I feel like this is a much more playable experience with Call of Duty Warzone, but the temperatures looked good, and overall this PC performed really well in this game. Now, playing Apex Legends at 1080p with the high to ultra preset that the game defaults to, we were getting a max FPS of 180, which was maxing out at our refresh rate of our monitor. This computer doesn't struggle at all to play this game, and Apex Legends, for the most part, is a very easy to run game. I figured the CPU and GPU combo would perform really well with this game. Now, jumping into Fortnite using DirectX 12 performance mode, we were getting above 100 FPS with an average of about 80 FPS. I believe if you use performance mode but without DirectX 12, you could even get the FPS higher to around 200 FPS. This game is more CPU intensive, but with the 3600X and the RTX 2070, we were getting some really good performance in this game. It just goes to show that this older hardware can still perform really well with these competitive shooters. So there you have it. We have another budget gaming PC for our PC flipping side hustle. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm kind of running out of ideas for videos. I don't want to keep building the same budget PCs and making videos about them. I have been building some other budget PCs, but since they're so similar to these ones, I've just been selling them and not making videos about them. Just let me know what you guys want to see, and until next time, this is Fish, and try not to get blown up.